Did you know that 67% of people engage in self-care, but only 16% report feeling truly fulfilled? It's shocking. In a world where self-care routines are everywhere, from Instagram feeds to wellness blogs, you'd think we'd all be thriving. Yet, many still feel stuck, anxious, and unhappy. What gives? The truth is, self-care alone won't solve your problems. Sure, a relaxing bubble bath or a spa day feels great, but those moments are just quick fixes. They don't address deeper issues like stress, fear, or low self-esteem. In fact, the American Psychological Association reports that 75% of people feel overwhelmed by their daily responsibilities. That's a lot of people relying on temporary escapes instead of facing their real challenges. In this video, we'll dive into why self-care isn't the magic solution we often believe it to be. We'll explore the myths of comfort, the importance of self-awareness, and the fine line between solitude and isolation. You'll discover strategies to help you dig deeper into personal growth and build a life that truly fulfills you. So, if you're ready to go beyond bubble baths and face masks, stay tuned. Let's uncover the real keys to lasting change. Chapter 1. The myth of the bubble bath solution: why comfort isn't growth. Self-care is everywhere, from bubble baths to skincare routines, but does it really solve your problems? Sure, lighting a candle and putting on a face mask feels good. But when it comes to deep-rooted issues, self-care in this form only scratches the surface. A study by the Global Wellness Institute found that the wellness industry is worth over $4.4 trillion. People are investing heavily in self-care, but are we any happier? One recent study suggests that while 90% of people engage in some form of self-care, many report it only offers temporary relief. It's like using a band-aid on a broken bone; it's not going to fix the underlying problem. What we often fail to recognize is that real growth happens outside our comfort zone. As author Brené Brown puts it, you can choose courage or you can choose comfort. You cannot have both. This chapter will explore why pampering yourself isn't enough. Personal growth is about pushing yourself past the easy stuff, into the hard conversations and the uncomfortable self-reflection. True transformation requires facing things head-on, even when it's hard. A bubble bath might relax you, but it won't help you deal with that argument you've been avoiding or the insecurities you've buried. Let's challenge the idea that comfort equals care. Growth happens when you face discomfort, not when you escape it. Chapter 2. Embracing discomfort for real progress. Growth begins where comfort ends. If you want real progress, it's time to get comfortable being uncomfortable. We're wired to avoid pain, both emotional and physical. But the truth is, avoiding discomfort is what holds most of us back. The saying, "no pain, no gain," applies not only in fitness but in life. Take the comfort zone fallacy, for example. Psychologist Robert Yerkes found that a state of optimal anxiety, just outside our comfort zone, leads to peak performance. This concept, known as the Yerkes-Dodson law, explains that a bit of stress actually enhances our ability to grow and succeed. Avoiding discomfort can keep you stuck in the same patterns, never really breaking free from what holds you back. Think about it. When was the last time you grew by staying in your safe zone? Whether it's a difficult conversation, a new job, or dealing with emotional baggage, progress only happens when you face challenges head-on. James Clear, in his book Atomic Habits, emphasizes that the deep work of habit building is often uncomfortable, but it's essential for real change. Embracing discomfort means letting go of the idea that self-care is all about treating yourself. Sometimes, self-care looks like hard work, like pushing through self-doubt, facing fear, and accepting failure as a part of learning. Growth isn't supposed to be easy, but it's worth it. And it's definitely more rewarding than sitting in a comfort bubble. Chapter 3. The hidden danger of toxic positivity. When positivity becomes a prison. We've all heard the phrase, "just think positive." But what happens when positivity goes too far? Toxic positivity is a real thing, and it can do more harm than good. It's the idea that no matter how tough things are, you should only focus on the bright side. This can actually stunt your emotional growth and leave you feeling stuck. A study published in Emotion found that people who suppress negative emotions experience more stress and anxiety over time. It turns out, forcing positivity can keep you from truly dealing with your feelings. Psychologist Susan David calls this the tyranny of positivity, where we deny ourselves the ability to process real emotions like grief, frustration, or sadness. Self-care often gets wrapped up in this notion, like if you meditate or journal enough, your problems will disappear. But ignoring the tough stuff won't make it go away. Think of it like sweeping dirt under a rug. It might not be visible, but it's still there. When we don't allow ourselves to feel and process negative emotions, they build up and eventually explode. Instead of chasing endless positivity, aim for emotional agility. Susan David, in her book Emotional Agility, argues that real resilience comes from facing your emotions head-on, without judgment. Accepting how you truly feel, even if it's painful, allows you to move through emotions, rather than getting stuck in them. Let's be clear, positivity has its place. But when it's forced, it can become a prison. Real personal development isn't about being happy all the time. It's about being real with yourself, even when that means sitting with uncomfortable feelings. Only then can you begin to heal and grow. If you're finding this content valuable, consider subscribing to the channel for more insights on personal growth and self-improvement. Chapter 4. Self-care versus self-awareness. The real power move: why self-awareness beats any face mask. While self-care routines can make you feel good, self-awareness is what truly changes you. Self-awareness is like turning on a light in a dark room. It helps you see the real obstacles in your life. The more you understand yourself, the better you can handle challenges. According to a study published in the European Journal of Personality, self-awareness is a key predictor of personal success and well-being. We've all heard the phrase, "know thyself," right? But how often do we actually sit with our thoughts and reflect on why we act or feel the way we do? In his book Emotional Intelligence, Daniel Goleman explains that self-awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence. It's not just about knowing what you're good at, but also recognizing your triggers, habits, and blind spots. Here's a simple strategy to boost self-awareness. Ask yourself, why? 5 times when you're feeling stuck. For example, if you're frustrated at work, ask, why am I feeling frustrated? Keep digging deeper until you get to the root of the problem. It might not be just the job, but something bigger like fear of failure or a lack of purpose. Self-care, as it's often presented, doesn't usually dig this deep. It treats the symptoms but rarely addresses the cause. On the other hand, self-awareness helps you understand the why behind your emotions, decisions, and actions. This is where real change happens. Instead of just soothing your stress, you start learning what causes it in the first place. So, while a face mask might make you feel refreshed, self-awareness is what will help you make better choices. It's about facing the truth of who you are, even if it's uncomfortable, and using that knowledge to grow. Chapter 5. The loneliness of true self-work. Finding strength in solitude, not isolation. It's important to recognize the difference between solitude and isolation. Solitude can be empowering, a time for deep reflection and growth. Isolation, however, can lead to feelings of loneliness and detachment. According to research from the American Psychological Association, chronic loneliness can be as harmful to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Self-care often encourages alone time, but real personal growth requires intentional solitude. Solitude isn't about shutting the world out, it's about creating space to understand yourself better. This concept aligns with what Cal Newport discusses in his book Deep Work. Newport argues that solitude is critical for producing high-quality work and deeper thinking. The same applies to self-work. Here's a simple tip. Try scheduling solitude sessions, where you spend time alone without distractions, no phone, no TV, no social media. Start with 20 minutes and gradually increase the time. Use this space to reflect on your thoughts, feelings, and goals. It's in these quiet moments that breakthroughs happen. But here's the catch. While solitude can be powerful, we also need connection. Studies show that people with strong social ties are more resilient and better able to cope with stress. Brené Brown, in her book Daring Greatly, emphasizes the importance of vulnerability and connection. She writes, "We are wired for connection. True self-work requires a balance of alone time and the support of a community." So, while it's important to spend time in solitude, don't confuse it with isolation. You don't have to do all the heavy lifting alone. Real self-growth involves both self-reflection and the courage to lean on others when needed. If you found this journey insightful, Don't forget to subscribe for more tips on cultivating a fulfilling and meaningful life.